This is Gilbert Gottfried, and this is Gilbert Gottfried's amazing Colossal podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Frank Santopadre, and we're once again recording at Nutmeg with our engineer, Frank Verderosa. Our guest this week is a producer, entrepreneur, and one of the most prominent and successful promoters of live events in the 20th and 21st centuries. He began producing local events in and around New York and soon found himself promoting the very first outdoor performance of a little band known as the Beatles. He would go on to promote dozens of live concerts for landmark acts such as Bob Dylan, Barbra Streisand, Count Basie, and Frank Sinatra. Years later, he created the highly successful #1 dollar concert series at New York Central Park, which featured some of the biggest acts in the pop music history, including The Who, Led Zeppelin, Joni Mitchell, the Beach Boys, Janis Joplin, the Grateful Dead, Diana Ross, Simon and Garfunkel, just to name a few. But there's more. He's also produced several TV concerts, specials, and Broadway shows, including An Evening with Harry Belafonte and Friends, Good Vibrations from Central Park, Gilda Live, Roger Waters in the Flesh, Eric Clapton and Friends, Lewis Black on Broadway, and Paul Simon's Concert in the Park. In a career spanning 6 decades, he's worked with everyone from Lenny Bruce to Bruce Springsteen, and had a front row seat performances of everyone from Woody Allen to Eminem. Please welcome to the podcast a local boy who made good, a living legend of live music and entertainment, and a man who actually saw the Ritz Brothers perform live. The great Ron Delsener.
Hey! Where is he? Oh, my God. My embalmer did a great job. I'm back from the fucking dead.
Welcome, Ron.
That was great. And the Ritz Brothers happened to be at, I think, is some Romanian International Theater on Broadway. I think there used to be a Latin place there called something, maybe a Latin Casino. It wasn't a Latin Casino. And they played there, the Ritz Brothers, and I happened to love the Ritz Brothers, Harry Ritz. And they had one thing, they did a shtick, the 3 guys, and I forget what the shtick was, but they said, don't holla. You know, you could come here, you could maybe yell at me, but don't say, don't holla. In other words, he did that kind of bit, and I thought that was hysterical, the way they did double talk. And I took a chorus girl to that show. I picked her up at the car show. I used to go to the car show because I had these fantastic models saying, and here's the new Dodge. Here's the new Simca, whatever the hell they were selling. And I'm just looking at the girls, and I had my camera. And somebody from the Times must have taken a picture of me when I was about 13 years old, suit and tie. And this fucking camera, I didn't even know how to work it with a bulb on it. And I was in the paper and it said, look at the youngsters who are getting into the photography business. You know. But I was taking these bathing suit girls. So I met this tall girl there. She was taking a break, and I'm scared stiff. I must have been 19 years old, living with my parents, like Marty. And I said...
Like Marty.
And I was not too bad looking. I had hair then. And I went up to her, I said, would you like to see the Ritz Brothers at the... Hey, Ritz Brothers, I love them. This chick was about 6 foot tall. And she said, yeah. So I forgot her name. I thought it was, I can't say her name on radio because she may be alive today, but she was terrific. And I took her to the Ritz Brothers, and they were hysterical. In those days, it was like $6, you know, sit down at a table, and the meal was another $8. And I don't even think there were credit cards back then. If there were, it was the Diners Club. And I don't remember what they did, but they were freaking hysterical. But I used to go to nightclubs as a kid. And what I would do, I had all kinds of jobs, marketing, things like that nature. But I'd take girls to the nightclub, and I lived with my parents. They'd let me use their car. Then we said, where are we going? We're going to go back to our mother's house. They said, not with me, you got. So they didn't want to go because they had their own house. They had their own apartment. So I was embarrassed. I couldn't take anybody to my apartment because I lived with my parents. So it was a drawback then. But it was also good. My mom cooked. She made the beds. She treated me nice. My father let me use his car. I'm not going anywhere until I find myself. And that took until I was about 28 years
Took a while.
27 years old.
Who else did you see in clubs and see
Well,
live
the
in those
best,
days?
I used to go to the Copa all about.
Yeah.
And there was a guy, Herman, a little guy, must have been from the Philippines at the door. He was at the top staircase. You see him first, $5 just to stand online. And then when I got downstairs, I met a captain, Ira Fisher. He's still alive. He opened a restaurant in the Hamptons called The Quiet Clam. And he was in the Hamptons at 20 years when he left there. He was a captain. He was a captain at the Copacabana. And there was Frank Sinatra I saw there, and that was a magnificent show. He did a 2 a.m. show. There was 3 shows on a Saturday, 8, 12, and 2. So I went to the last show one night, and there is George Gobel, Edward G. Robinson.
Wow.
A lot of stars came to see the 2 a.m. show, and he comes out to the 2, and I got a table kind of like behind Frank, you know, so I see the silhouette of him with a cigarette in the hand, and he comes out with a black suit, black shirt, and a black tie, and they played "Man with the Golden Arm" because the movie had just come out. Frank Sinatra, and no, he was God, you know, and he floored it. And after the show, I went out with this. I don't know who I took to the show. I took a lot of girls out. They only saw me once, and that was it. The mothers look at me. Let me see your driver's license. One mother said to me in Brooklyn, she said, I didn't even know how to drive in Brooklyn. I couldn't find my way out. Look at, he's wearing makeup. I said, wait a minute. I'm in the sun. I said at freaking Rockaway, Beach 32. What do you mean I'm wearing makeup? You can't take her out. I just want to, like, in those days we used to call it dry humping. You know, we didn't have sex. That's what we did.
Dry humping.
It was called petting.
Yeah.
I never really I didn't know how to have sex. My wife even asked me, what are we doing? You know what you're doing? I said, I heard about it. So when I got married, I had to practice. I knew what the fuck I was doing. So let me practice on some girls. I know.
Oh, God.
Well, I saw Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis when they broke up. Their last show at the Copacabana in July of 1956, it might have been, and they were splitting up, and I was like almost in tears. They came out and did a little bit. You and I will be buddies and partners and friends. That was the closing bit.
Yeah.
They did a bit with twirl. They liked to twirl guns. Jerry could do anything. Twirled the gums. He tap danced. He played the drums. He conducted a band. And they were amazing. And just recently, 2 weeks ago, I met Dean Martin's youngest daughter. Her name was Dina, D-I-N-A. D-E-N-A, D-E-N-A, Dina Martin. She sings, of course, and she lives in Branson, Missouri with her husband. It's sad how quickly our life goes and how our past goes. That's where all your memories are. And I have such great memories, and I always look back into that. That's the things I really remember, the 50. And I look out in the street today, we're trying to park my car. I go, where are we, in Bangladesh? It's crazy out there. I hate the people. I can't stand the bit. No one knows what I'm talking about. I had to go to 2 places before a guy knew what I meant when I said I want to park my car. And he says, no, this is for people to have are you parking for a monthly? I said, I don't park here monthly. What, it's got a ticker on it? I said, the sticker's for my fucking parking garage on 84th Street. And I got another sticker for the car that I park in my office on 15th Street. No parking here, no parking. I go, anybody speak English here? Anybody? There was a guy dressed pretty nicely, a nice guy, barking like, sir, here's $10 freaking dollars. Would you let me pay to park my car here? Yeah, what's the matter? Well, these 2 clowns over here from Rikers Island, wherever the hell you got these guys from, they won't let me park here. There's another woman comes out. I thought she was like taking the money, the cash lady. No park. She says, who the fuck is she, from Latvia? She said, no. I said, I know, I have to pay. I will to pay. Here's the cash. This is the second place I went to.
I'm
second
sorry
place
we
on
put
the
you
same
through
block.
that, Ron.
So I'm going, get me the hell out of here. I want to go to New Zealand. It was only sheep. Sheep don't fucking talk.
Tell us about, you're from Astoria. You're a local kid, as we said in the intro.
I was born in Astoria, and my mother kept moving further out because I was getting beaten up by Irish guys with rocks. They used to hit my hand and break. I got a split pinky right here. When I was 2 years old, my mother says somebody put a rock. The little kids were playing, big stone, and split my pinky in the street. And I ran out screaming. I sewed it up. It's Astoria, 1938.
And
39.
your pinky never healed
No,
properly.
no, but I don't do it to tea. This one's good though.
For the record,
So
put
she
up his
moved me
middle
out to
finger.
Flushing and then Bayside, and there was open space out there. That now it's Korea, it's little Korea. And it's really. Did you ever go out to Flushing? No.
I'm from Ozone Park.
Well, we had a theater there called the RKO Keith's Theater, and they'd have two shows.
famous.
They'd have two films, and between films, Bernie at the organ would come out. The organ would come lift out of the bowels of the stage, lift up. He'd start playing Down by the Old Mill Stream, and on a screen were the words Down by the Old Mill Stream, and the bouncing ball would bounce on it. So go down by the old mill stream, ba-ba-doo, and you'd sing along with your mom and dad. And you always dressed up with a tie, a jacket. And next door, I remember there was an ice cream parlor that had a banana split sundae. A banana split with chocolate and vanilla ice cream, sliced banana, real whipped cream, not the stuff today, the spray can, and real marshmallow, and chopped walnuts. $5, amazing, and that's what we had in our pocket because we had my father didn't have a credit card, it was cash, and we lived nicely. Everybody lived nicely. We didn't know that they opened up a can of salmon for dinner with some lettuce and some tomatoes, but that was enough in the summertime. And it was my birthday. My mother and father took me to the Swan Club. And I think it was a restaurant on a lake, someplace in Little Neck near Sands Point. That was a big deal to go out to a restaurant.
The Swan Club.
Swan Club. And that was for your birthday, and my mother said, order whatever you want. And my mother would order scrambled eggs or eggs, and she let me order shrimp cocktail or steak or whatever. That was how my mother was.
I saw an interview with you. You were talking about the old restaurants in the Horn and Hearted with the old
Horn and Hearted was the
automat
best place
setup.
to go as a kid. You ever go to a Horn and Hearted, Godfrey?
Oh, yeah.
So freaking great. The people had gloves on because their hands would get black from the coins they use all the time. And they said they had to put gloves on. And you go to the machine, you like the baked beans, the meringue pie. You know, remember?
Yeah,
Right.
and I remember on 42nd
Yeah,
Street.
by the Daily News.
Yeah, the big automat.
Yep.
That was probably the last one that
That was the last
there.
one.
And there was a little glass door. You opened it up and you took your sandwich or cake out.
Correct.
And I remember as a kid, I was real excited. For all of you having drinking parties out there, I just said, as when I was a kid, they used to have like a lion's head that, you know, the hot chocolate would come out of.
Right.
And I was so excited
Good
about
memory.
Right.
Good
yes.
stuff.
It was beautiful. But what he's saying is it was a curved glass, and it was stacked on like 3 feet high with different condiments within those stacked glass. So you'd put a nickel with whatever you want in that glass, and then you turn a knob, and the glass would turn around, and there would be the cake in it, and it would lift up, or you lift up, you opened it up, and you took out the pie, and it spun around again, so they filled it up from the back. So in other words, it'd go from front to back, and somebody in the back would fill it up. That would be a great place to work and fill it up with some caca or something. Somebody go crazy, you know, put some joke in there if you were working and get fired. You get fired, you know. Put it. I'm just thinking how sinister this would have been way back when. But do you remember bowling alleys? We had bowling alleys with pin boys. They didn't have automatic pins. A pin boy would stand behind there and hope that when the people threw the ball down, that the ball wouldn't spit down and hit him in the groin, and he'd be dead forever, you know.
I remember Jan's ice cream parlor in Queens.
Jan's was fantastic. Good hangout for nice girls from Forest Hills.
That's where I used to go for my birthday.
And you became pretty much a showman and a promoter when you were a little kid.
When I was a
used
kid.
to put on your own shows.
I put on my show, and my father and mother would take me to see My Fair Lady and all the musicals. Sid Caesar was on Broadway then. We saw everything. South Pacific with Ezia Pins and Mary Mon.
Oh, man.
We go to the matinees, dress up, and we come back and we try to recreate that in the circus.
You and your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the circus, on the same block with me was Paul Alt. He lived across the street from me. He's a big lawyer now. And he had a dog, and it was like, so we the dog, train the dog and do this and that, and people would pay a nickel. And we do it in the basement.
To your house.
Yeah. Usually it was Barbara and Vivian Miller. They were cute girls. They lived at the block. We charged them a nickel. Then we had a guy, Charlie LeBarker, and Ed Victor was a big attorney later on. He became a big literary agent. And he put out Keith Richards' book recently. He just passed away, but he was a great guy. He lived across the street from us. But he was a bookworm. He never came out to play stickball with us. Or, I don't know if anybody remembers stoop ball.
Of course.
That's the steps you had outside your house, and they had a pink ball called a Spalding.
Yes.
You take the ball, and if you hit the point,
play stoop ball.
it go over the guy's head, hit somebody's lawn, and that was it. That was a home run.
Did you build a replica of Yankee Stadium out of cardboard?
Oh, I built a replica of Yankee Stadium in a cardboard in the basement. I charged a nickel also, and then had to work.
What was it? What was the nickel for? Just to see it?
But I explained what was going on. I had a pair of dice, and I had bases there,
I
and
see.
I had little chips, which meant that so those are the players. And I'd throw the dice, and 2 meant like a single, and if the snake eyes, if 4 came up, that was like a double. I made it all up. And guys who watched me throw the dice, they didn't know what the hell I'm talking. Here's a double, okay. I moved the and always cheat. I said, well, that's a home run. Didn't you say that was a double? No, it's a home run. And the Yankees always won.
So the promoting was in your blood.
Yeah.
At an early age, right?
Yeah, and then there was a church down our block, and when we moved to Bayside, which I just went back to see the house last week, no one spoke English on the whole block. The guy was from Serbia. I said, I have a friend from Bosnia. We hate the Bosnians. We killed them. We killed them. I swear to God. We swear. I said, Serbia, we hate Bosnians. Herzegovina, we killed them. I go, okay. I used to live here. I mean, hey, don't say that again. Don't say that again. I got out of there so fucking fast.
Oh, man. Don't mention
That was the
Bosnia.
old neighborhood.
That's hilarious.
And it's still going on. The brothers are killing brothers. It happens North Korea, South Korea. What the hell happened to our world? What happened to John Cameron Swayze?
John Cameron Swayze.
Oh, wow.
And the Timex keeps ticking.
Yep.
You put the watch on,
Takes a licking.
you get in a motorboat and stick it to the motor the thing, and you cut your hand off. You put your hand where the motorboat is, and you cut your fucking hand off, but the watch keeps ticking. You have no hand, but the watch keeps ticking.
Hilarious.
And then his nephew.
Oh, really? John Cameron Swayze Jr.?
Patrick
Something?
Swayze
Patrick
related to
Swayze.
John
No.
Cameron Swayze?
Yes,
I never
they're
knew that.
related.
That's good stuff.
I didn't know that.
had no
Patrick
idea.
Swayze.
No idea. Good stuff,
Is
Gil.
he still with us?
Yeah, I think he was his nephew.
I think they're both gone now. Well, Patrick's
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he died young.
Yeah, he died
Patrick.
young.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I grew up on the John Cameron Swayze.
Wasn't that incredible?
commercial.
You believed it. It was a wonderful
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Takes a lick
I
and it
remember the
keeps
one
on
you're talking
sticking.
about, too, with the
a lick, it
speedboat.
keeps on ticking. He put it on the back. Let's
They
put it
go
on a
down those-
motorboat.
Right? Remember that one?
Yeah, they go off the Niagara Falls, anything.
Highlight. How about Arthur Godfrey?
Sure.
Oh, now Arthur Godfrey. I think you know,
Of course, tell a story.
Jew hater.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He went down to Florida and he had a dog racing track there, or some place he stayed at. They wouldn't let people who were Sephidic there. They wouldn't let people who wore yarmulkes in that place.
He was unkind to an Italian man, famously as well,
That's true.
to Julius La Rosa.
That's true.
Yeah. You're half Italian, half Jewish?
Yeah, if I can't get it for your wholesale, I steal it.
Okay, great. You just made Gilbert's night. Oh, hilarious.
So anyway, Arthur Godfrey say, we got Holly Loki here tonight. He made Holly sit on my lap. You know, he's a horny. Oh, Holly, yes, okay. Well, we had that Irish girl, Colleen Quinn. What was her name? Quinn? Carmel Quinn.
Carmel Quinn.
Carmel, she'd sing Danny Boy, you know, oh, that's lovely, Carmel. Come in my room after the show. You know, he's one of those like Ed Sullivan, you know the old Ed Sullivan joke?
Yes.
You walk by his door and he goes, no teeth, take it, no teeth. Somebody told me, I think it was David Steinberg who told me that joke. I said, David, how do you, it's the truth, no teeth. I mean, he did that with the June Taylor dancers.
No kidding.
Well, that's what they told me, and Xavier Cugat had a thing he did too, but I don't want to get into that because he may have relatives.
I heard like Jackie Gleason.
Hilarious.
Jackie Gleason was always getting in trouble with the June Taylor dancers. You know, he's always having affairs with.
Well, wouldn't you?
I think he married one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did.
think
and
he
that
did.
didn't stop him from trying out the others.
No. I mean, I would have loved to hung around with those guys when they went to Toots Shores. Jackie Gleason and Sinatra and a couple other drunks and all those guys. You know, who was the guy who married Liz Taylor? Richard Burton.
Yeah.
It was Richard Burton, the other guy with the blues eye, Lawrence of Arabia, Peter
O'Toole.
O'Toole. Those guys were really
Oh, those were heavy drinkers.
I
Oliver
would love
Reed.
to hang out. I was too old for that, but I met O'Toole at Elaine's with Bobby Zarum, who was his publicist at the time. Bobby retired, went to North Carolina. What a great guy. He was an icon. What a great actor he was. And all those great guys, we had handsome guys back then. You remember, like Cary Grant and stuff. Now we have pretty boys, but these guys were the real deal. John Wayne, you know. We used to go to the How about going to the theater when you were a kid? There was a theater called the Roosevelt Theater when I lived in Flushing. You take the bus, the Q12 bus, the Roosevelt Theater, and you register when your birthday is. And when it was your birthday, they'd have a cake in a lobby for you. Little cake. And it was not air conditioning. You know, somebody ran down the aisles with ice cubes. That was it. There was no air conditioning.
Someone ran down the aisle with tossing
water,
ice
spray
cubes.
you. So we didn't know. And they put you in the left. That was air conditioning. It was some shit. And so you'd have to sit the extreme right. That's where they put the kids. On the other side were people sleeping, older people. But we were on the right. The kids were all on there because the matrons wore like nurse uniforms. And if you were out of line, like having spitballs and spitting them at your friend, they throw you out. You had to be really good when you were there.
It's great, Ron, that your parents exposed you to entertainment and show
Everything.
business at such an early age.
bring
They took
people-
you to Lou Walter's place, the Latin Quarter, and
There was a Boulevard nightclub on, what's with the Forest Hills? What's that big road there? Not Union Toy.
Cross Bay Boulevard.
No, it's a big. Anyway,
Queens
it was a
Boulevard?
boulevard, Queens Boulevard.
Queens Boulevard.
It was a boulevard, and you'd see guys like Jackie Wakefield, a comic. I forgot it. And Buddy, what's his Miles? Jackie Miles.
Jackie Miles.
You know, he used to have jokes. It turned out the whole heart. It turned out my whole heart. You see, like little one-liners I remember from these guys. And Pat Cooper, Pasquale Caputo
He was here.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Cooper was great.
Yeah.
He opened for Jimmy Roselli at the Palace Theater in 1966. One of my first shows on Broadway was Pat Cooper opening for Jimmy Roselli. Now, Jimmy Roselli, the mob guys loved that, but he hated the mob. He wouldn't do Frank Sinatra's mother's birthday party. So Frank borrowed him from Las Vegas.
Wow.
True story. And Jimmy would be in putting his piece on, and he had a corset. I'd go in, he'd putting on this it was a real corset, like a girdle. It was a girdle on his belly when he went out, but he had a great voice. He sang O Sole Mio and all the songs in Italian, and everybody, whether wise guys or Italian, they went to see him. He had a great voice.
That's
He didn't have a
interesting.
big career because they wouldn't let him play a lot of places.
Sinatra barred him from Vegas because he refused to play his
Correct.
mother's birthday
Frank
party.
wanted to play
Dolly Sinatra's party.
Dolly's favorite act was Jimmy
Be
Roselli.
damned.
So he didn't want to work with the mob.
He didn't care about him. You know who didn't care either was Louis Prima.
Yeah.
Louis Prima was one of the greatest acts, one of the lounge acts. And he played the Copacabana, and unfortunately, I was in the Army Reserve, and I couldn't get a pass out. I said, "My grandmother died. I got to go home. I want to see Louis Prima at the Copa." I tried everything. We don't give a shit. No, you don't understand. She had died 2 weeks before. I'd say anything to get me out of here. I'm wearing glasses. I can't see. No, you got to stay here and do KP and peel potatoes. I was so pissed. So Louis Prima played at the freaking Copacabana, but I did see them in Las Vegas. That was a great act. I should have played him in Central Park, but I didn't. I played everybody in Central Park.
We'll get to that in a second, but what Gilbert was trying to say before, you're going to ask him about. You're going to ask him about the early promotion days.
Yes. Yeah. So no, that's so you just like as a kid, you would just
We
promote it.
recreate what we saw. We did the circus with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had the house that went on fire. I lit a match to this cardboard thing I built as a house. I said, "Fire engine," and bell would go off. And my friend Lenny McGee would come in with some water.
What a creative kid, Ron.
Because we're imagining. We had imagination. We actually could see it and believe it.
When did you start doing local stuff? Like I know you knocked on Dick Van Dyke's door one day.
I did.
Because you had a lot of chutzpah.
I wanted him to do a show down at NYU. I wanted to do a benefit for cancer research. So I had Earl Wrightson. I conned him to doing it. And I had a color guard. Somebody sing the national
guard.
Whatever the fuck I had.
I haven't heard that in years.
Not a colored guard, a color guard.
I know, a color guard when they have the
I
flag.
thought it was a show. I had to have a show, you know. I did one on New Year's Eve in Times Square. I rented a ballroom. And the guy, you might know his name. I got his name. Crazy mouth. He looked a little bit like Buddy Hackett. Just passed away. The Forest Hills guy. Marty Engels.
Oh.
Marty Engels was doing the show.
Marty Engels, yeah.
And to pay me, he was doing some gig, and I said, you got to come over here and do this gig for me. I think he wanted $500 or $200. But and I asked my friends to all buy tables and tickets. I didn't even have a date New Year's Eve. And the hotel is not even there anymore. And they were all having a good time. And I think I lost. It cost me $700 to do the show for like 50 people with dancing and everything. And I lost maybe $100. And I went out Times Square. It was midnight. And everybody was kissing each other. And the ball came down. I just stood there. I said, man, I'm so unhappy. I was so depressed then. So I never forget that. Losing money was a big thing with me. I go to the racetrack with my father. He taught me how to bet the horses. He wanted me to be a jockey. If I lost money, I'd start to cry. And my mother said, that's a lesson. Don't ever gamble. You want to run the track, let people gamble. You be the owner of the track.
They wanted you to be a jockey.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I was skinny, still skinny. I was 117, 112 when I was a young kid, 79 pounds at one time. Well, horses scared me.
Let's get into the promotion. You knocked on Dick Van Dyke's door. You were doing local stuff.
For benefits.
Yeah. And when did it occur to you this could be a living? This could be something that I could actually...
Well, we jump up to the early... I was working then in advertising, writing copy, and there was a guy, Gilbert Marketing Company, and he had a client called the Ford Motor Company. And he said, I tell you what, we have to get the Ford car on college campuses. And the way we're going to do this through music. So I was sitting with Hilly Crystal.
Hilly Crystal.
Hilly from Hilly's. CBGB's
yeah.
later on. Hilly was a background singer with a bunch of guys. And I said once, Jesus Christ, I called my friend George Abraham. I don't know how I met George, but George was the media director at Doyle Dane, and his client was Rheingold Beer. He said, why don't you do something in Central Park? I said, wow. And Hilly goes, yeah. So I cut Hilly in. That was a big mistake. So he sold it to Rheingold. He says, all right, you're in business. You got $35,000. I said, okay. And I just got married. I really didn't have a job except at an advertising agency. So I went to the Parks Department. I said, I need an architect. We can't recommend anybody. They said, we can't recommend you. I said, well, just tell me who you didn't recommend. I'll call. I won't say anything. So they didn't want to say that we recommended them. I found this guy, Rick Scafidio, who's now a big shot. And he designed this park thing for me, and I got the axe, and I had no office. I met a guy, Marcel Ventura. Spanish guy. They're very, very rich people. They're very, very rich. He had Mata and Harry.
Marcel Ventura.
Yeah, let's go to Mata and Harry's house. They lived in Ansonia, one of those buildings. They come in, Mata and Harry, we dance for you. I was a kid. Yeah, dance for me. Sure, we'll put you on the show. Don't worry. And he had Sabikis, the flamenco guy, all this crap. So he had a place on the top of the Plaza Hotel. It was the eaves, so you had to duck down. It was so low. And he let me have a desk. I think he kind of liked me because he was, one of those guys. He kind of liked me. That's nice. He was a happy guy. He was a happy guy. Happy. Nice guy. Very distinguished. Distinguished. He was a very distinguished, not extinguished. Very distinguished guy. And I had to just stay away from him. I didn't go to the bathroom the same time as he went. So I had one phone and no buttons, and I had it booked, and I go out, and people would call me, and he said, your phone is ringing all day long. I said, I had no secretary. Anyway, I booked the series, and it was a big hit, $1 a ticket. I had Mort Saul open it. Jesse Cullen, Young and the Youngbloods, Dave Brubeck, and Dionne Walker on the first show.
Wow.
For $1 a ticket.
That's a bill.
And I wasn't allowed to sell Rheingold beer. The Parks Department said, those people who go to these shows, the devil's music, that's what it was back then. So I couldn't even sell my beer. But outside the gate, they were selling Heineken, pills, uppers, downers, blackies, bluties, and marijuana. Jeez. It got so big that I had to do 2 shows a night. And then I started doing the free shows. My first free show was Barbra Streisand. And I gave Marty Ehrlichman, he was the manager and still is the manager at 87 years old. We were there forever. I said, I'll give you $25,000. That's what we paid her at Forest Hills. And she was playing in Funny Girl. So we did it on a night off. I think it was a Sunday or Monday. And we took platforms and built a stage over the rocks in Central Park. Very easy. Put these 2 trees up. We call them trees, but they're really poles, light poles, which are fused to the ground with cables. We put lighting on that. Very simple. And then Marty said, look, I'm going to have CBS come in here, Sony, Kappa, Channel 2 come in, whatever, Sony Records come in and tape us. Do whatever you want. What an idiot I was. I didn't get a nickel from that show.
The Streisand show.
It was all free. Yeah. And I got the security from the state of New York. They gave me security. And my satellite guy did it for free. Bob Kiernan, he went on to go tour with Barbara and then Frank Sinatra, and I lost him, and he was a great guy. So it was all done that. Whenever I did a free show, I got on the air with WNEW Radio, Scott Muni, and I said, Scott, I got to raise some money to do a free show with the Grateful Dead or Elton John or Simon & Garfunkel. So we sold T-shirts with their name on it, $35 over the air, so we get the money to pay the stagehands to do the show. The acts work for free. James Taylor. We had a show, Save the Sheet Metal, Close the Sheet Metal. So James Taylor was the show we did at the Sheet Metal, and after that, they closed it and made it the place where you can't run around. You got to watch it. They put fences up.
The Professor Scott Muni.
Yeah,
I remember him.
Scott Muni was.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Scott Muni.
Scott Muni.
All
a great
the
voice.
years you've been in the music business, how have you seen it change?
Well, right now, there's no lyrics like there were with Julie Stein and all those great Johnny Mercer,
Sure.
Kahn, Sammy Kahn, and Hoagie Carmichael, all the great songs. So it went from those beautiful songs, love songs, to I want to F your sister. It got crazy, and I go.
Gilbert has that single.
Now, I know. I mean, when I was a kid, my mother used to wash my soap out if they said the S word. She'd take this Roquette soap, which I think was a kosher soap, it had to be, and wash my mouth out in the sink. And your daddy's come home, he's going to spank you. I couldn't say the S word. I'd never say the F word because that was, you go to jail if you said that in the 40s. And
you've experienced the height of demands, artist demands. Like, like they always talk about.
The brown M&Ms.
Oh, you mean the riders?
Yes.
The contract riders.
The problem with that, and this is mild down, but we got it down. I mean, last night I spent $7,500 on food, but it should have been $5,000. But we got it down to a thing. Hey, listen, if you want to go eat out, here's $2,000. Go outside and eat. We're not going to cook backstage. It's cheaper to give money not to eat there. Go outside. But the writers get crazy. But now we get them down. Years ago, they'd have the champagne, the best champagne, and then was the Dom Perignon. And we found out they wanted the great French wines. And who wanted it? The guy who made the writer up, which is usually the tour manager who travels with the band. And I used to say, why are you asking for Domaine La Tache, Domaine Romanicanti? $1,000 a bottle. Well, the band demands it. The guy, the tour manager, had a wine cellar. He takes the wine, he'd take it himself.
He wanted it.
Absolutely.
The thing with the Van Halen and the brown M&Ms, were you personally involved with that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Were you sorting M&Ms?
No, not me. We have PI.
Okay, because I know you did every job.
There was Billy Squire, who's a nice guy. He's still around. If you spelled his name...
Billy Squire.
His name was on the marquee or coming to town in Binghamton, New York, wherever. If you spelled it wrong, it was a $10,000 fine. And he made people pay him $10,000.
If you spelled his name wrong on the marquee.
Now, is it SQUIER or is SQUEIR?
I think it's IER.
I don't want to say because I forget because I have Alzheimer's right now.
Squire, the stroke.
When we first met a couple of months ago, you put on the Groucho show, the Groucho Marx show on
Carnegie Hall. 1983.
72.
No, was it that late? That
72,
long ago?
I think it was May.
Really, that long ago?
Yeah, May of
and
72.
And it was a weird period for Groucho because he was like very weak and feeble.
Yeah, very. 83 years old. I knocked 83. He was staying at the Regency Hotel on Park Avenue on 61st. I knocked on as he wanted to see me. I knocked on the door and he opened the door and I look at this little old man with a beret on. He said, "You must be my producer." I said, "Roger March, I don't produce anything. Come on." And he said, "Come on in." And we talked. And I took him across the street for lunch. And then I said, when I got to know him, and I should have stayed with him. I didn't treat him too good after that. I'll tell you what happened. He had a girl with him, Erin
Fleming.
She was with him. I think she might have, I don't know.
We'll let our listeners fill that in.
Yeah, she was doing
She was a
stuff
friend.
with
She was a
Groucho.
friend.
Very close friend.
She was a very close friend, and she was with him. So I took him to lunch, and then we did the show, and he said, in the writer, I had to get him a certain scene from the stateroom, in the stateroom.
Oh, the
scene.
night at the opera.
Whatever the
scene,
hell it
yeah.
was. Whatever it was.
The stateroom.
So I got on the phone with the word to get him, blah, blah, blah. And it's the day of the show, and I got the film, and I said, let's show it and see, do a run through a little. It's the wrong freaking film. It's something else, like something on Day at the Races. I go, holy shit, there goes the whole show. So I got in my car and I went to Jersey. The place is locked up. It's a Saturday night. I'm banging at the windows. I come all the way back. I said, we got to show what there is. By the way, it's okay to show something wrong because he didn't know. He found out later when he's looking at it. It was great. And Crouch, like, they thought it was a gag, and it turned out to be a gag.
That's great.
Here's the night at the opera, and it was something a Day at the Races. So it was funny. So getting back to the Groucho thing, his accompanist was
Hamlish.
Marvin Hamlish. First time I ever met him. And his secretary, Erin Fleming, I think she came out and sang a song, too.
Yeah, she sang the window cleaner song.
How do you know all
Saying
this?
that, and I guess Margaret Dumont's section of Hello,
Hello,
I Must Be Going.
right? And then he sang
How do you
Captain
remember
Spaulding.
this? Where'd you get this from?
Research.
And I actually
I need this from
saw
my
it.
book. You did? You were there? Woody Allen was there. Mayor Lindsay was there. A lot of people were there. And a lot of people were dressed like Groucho with the eyes and the mustache and nose.
And Cavett opened the show.
Cavett. Introduce him.
The Cavett.
And so that you say there definitely was something going on between Groucho and that woman.
Well, let me say she might have been interested in a southern part of the anatomy that I don't even want to talk about. And it could have. But I don't know. I really don't know for sure. I can only imagine if I was a fine young man like Groucho, I would be thinking about the same thing. But however, you can't talk about things like that.
No,
today
of course not. I heard Cavett was worried that no one would show up, that people didn't remember, and it sold out. It was a smash hit.
I should have taped it. I think they did tape it. It might have been.
Well, like they had an album.
Yeah, there's an album.
There's an
A&M
album.
Records did it. The guy's name is Brooks, Arthur Brooks. Anyway, he did it. I didn't get a nickel for that. I don't think I got credit for it. But I had a poster sold out like that. And the fact the kid who helped me in the office, Jonathan Shearer, I must say that he passed away of cancer about 10 years ago. He said, why don't you do Groucho Marx on Broadway? I said, you write him the letter and I'll get him. So he wrote the letter and Groucho goes back, okay. Forget about the chorus girls, how much? And I said, look at Groucho, how's $10,000 or whatever it was? You're in. And he told me he used to go, he lived in Great Neck with the boys, with the family, with the mom. And so we found out the address. So I said, let's go there. So I got a car and driver, and Aaron came with us, Aaron, and a photographer, I forget her name, but she has a lot of great pictures, and I never asked her to give me a photograph.
Wow,
being
we got to
Groucho.
track her down.
Never. I forget her name. Look, she wrote a book about her.
We'll find it.
Because I was embarrassed in front of Groucho. Hey, I'd like to have a picture. I would look like a groupie. I don't want to be like an asshole. So on the way, we stopped on 59th Street before we went over the bridge, 59th Street Bridge, the Queensboro Bridge. There was a wig place. I stopped out and I got a blonde wig and a red wig. I put one on Groucho, one on me, and she said it was the greatest. He put it on. We're going to go into the house dressed like this. We get to the street. He knew exactly where he's going. He told us where he wanted to go.
Wow.
A few stairs to go up. Attached houses in those days. They're attached. It means a common wall everybody had. And the guy opens the door and he says, welcome home, Mr. Marx. The guy had to be 80 years old. He was the grandfather of the woman who lived there, happened to be his daughter. And she came, oh, Mr. Marx, come on in. And we went, and he walked upstairs, and he showed us the little rooms. They looked small. Where he slept, where his brother slept. What was their real names? I forgot. Arthur was...
Leonard was Chico. And
Leonard was...
Adolf originally, Harpo, and then changed it to Arthur.
Wait a minute.
Harpo was
Adolf.
Then he changed it to Arthur.
For reasons we don't know.
Yeah. What was wrong with the name
And
Adolf?
Gummo was Milton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Groucho was Julius.
Julius, correct.
Right, Julius.
So he showed me the rooms. He said, we used to go here home late at night from our shooting in Astoria Studios, because Astoria Studios were they shooting the silent movies back then.
Well, they shot Animal Crackers and Coconuts there.
You guys got everything. I need that for my book, so
Okay.
I'll give you $20.
Okay,
later.
Ron, you're on.
So So that's
made
what
a
they
quick
did.
20.
And they come back there, they lived there. And so we did the show, and after the show, he ran out the back door, and I don't know if he signed it to go to guess, right in the car, and I took him to, which is now Doubles. The Sherry Netherland Hotel has a club below them. It's now called Doubles. Then it was called Raffles. You couldn't. It's a private club. You couldn't get in unless you had a suit and tie. But I knew the maitre d', a French guy called Jean-Francois Marchand. Jean-Francois Marchand, because he had a little restaurant later on in life. He was a maitre d'. He let us come in. Gave us a little table. It was me, Groucho, Aaron, Marvin Hamlish, and Dick Cavett.
Mm-hmm.
The stories were great.
I'll bet.
And then the next day, I went to Dunhill. And I bought him a cigarette, gold cigarette lighter. And I said, SRO, Steady Ramoli, Carnegie Hall. And he cried. I gave him that lighter. And Carnegie Hall, that's how big it was for these people who played places in Coney Island. He told me they used to play 2-3 shows a day in Coney Island.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an act on before him called Swain's Rats and
Cats.
How do you know that?
Glad you brought it up.
God, yes.
Yes, Swain's Rats and Cats. But they also work with Burns and Allen.
Yeah.
That was a vaudeville act.
George
Correct.
Burns always used to
Swain's
talk
Rats
about
and
that.
Cats.
Swain's Rats and Cats.
We got a book for you.
Oh, and he gave me a little thing he bought at an antique store with a little pony, and on it was a rat, a cat, whatever, something else.
How about that?
Who knows what the hell it was? And
It sounds like you treated him great.
Well, he treated me great, didn't he? And then one night he took me out with Goddard Lieberson. He said, we're going to Lutece. Lutece, wow. Bastard. I had to dress up. And Goddard Lieberson there, who really controlled us, Columbia Records, was having dinner with us. And they were talking about everybody in the business. And I said, wow, I wish I had a tape recorder. And the stories they were telling, it just opened my eyes. To Harry, I forget the guy, Harry Warren. These guys who wrote the songs.
Warren and Dubin.
Warren and Dubin.
Yeah, 42nd Street.
Who wrote those songs.
Yeah,
They're talking
it's
about
good
these
stuff.
people.
Of course.
That era that the
Great
20s,
stuff.
it's an amazing era. And you don't hear that. People don't talk about anything like that anymore. Now it's the Kardashians. We came down from such high hopes back in the 40s and 50s after the Depression was over, after the war was over, all the way into the toilet. It happened. I saw it happening in the 50s when they came out to Frozen dinner with the
Swanson's Frozen Dinners. That was the beginning of the end
exactly.
for you, huh,
Michael
Ron?
Lee, I ate it all day. There's peas in one little thing. There's a little mashed potatoes.
That was the beginning of the end of
And there's a
culture.
little piece of meat. And you peel it back and you put it in the oven and that's it.
Speaking of
What
icons,
happened to cooking?
tell us about the Beatles at Forest Hills. I mean, you
Oh,
promoted
God.
the very
Well, I was
first
working-
outdoor concert.
Yes, that's true. I was working with a guy, Don Freeman, who passed away. He got me the job there because his sister said I'm really good at what I do. And I was writing copy at that time, and I was doing shows with this marketing company going around the country. And he said, all right, what do you do? I said, I can write. All right, you're our PR guy. I'm going to be $75 a week. I was living with my parents, so I said, okay, this is our first year together. And he said, all right, we got these acts, and we're going to do this. Okay, I'm on the phone. I'm like his assistant. He had a secretary.
That's when you were the third banana?
I was the third band.
Yeah.
And the sister was Vicky Pike. She was married to a guy who played David Pike, who played the xylophone, whatever it's called,
The
vibraphone.
vibes, yeah.
And I think, and so he rents a little space in some building on the first floor. That's how I met my wife, by the way. I'll tell you this story. On the first floor. So he's got the one room with the couch, and I'm in with Vicky. Vicky's here, I'm here. Now, Vicky's pretty hot, I think Vicky goes in to have dictation once in a while. And I think, I think they had a cup of coffee, and they did a lot of steno. And I come out, and I was typing my press releases. And so I said, well, all right. My job was to go, and I did it great. I didn't take a cab. I didn't take a bus. I walked. The Journal American, the Herald Tribune, the Wall Street Journal, the Daily News, the Mirror, the Times. I went to every newspaper in town to look at. I'm working at Forest Hills Theater Stadium. I got the Beatles coming in there. I got Barbara Streisand coming in. I got 3 nights with Harry Belafonte. I got Woody Allen opened for Trini Lopez.
Oh, yeah, Woody
playing.
Allen and Trini Lopez. What a bill.
Yeah, and they were playing the Bassett Street East. And I went over to see Woody, and I said, would you do a commercial here? And I gave him the copy. He had to say, hi, this is Woody Allen. I'm going to see with Trini Lopez at Forest Hills, because the show wasn't sold out. So I had a lot of balls. And these guys gave me full pages in the paper because they wanted to see the Beatles. And I took care with the tickets. And when they came to Forest Hills, I was backstage with them. And the helicopter landed on the lawn, which is the tennis court in the back.
Right.
And no one was allowed to sit on the tennis courts. So the cops had put in police barriers. That didn't stop the kids. All girls. 90%.
Jumping over the barriers.
And I had a chick I met from, I wasn't married, in West Hampton. I tried. I could take her back to my mother's house to go, what are you, crazy? I'd have to go after some blind person or something. I was fucked.
You were trying to take girls to the Beatles show.
I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even drive up. You go to Central Park. The cop had put the flashlight. I said, give me a break. The flash. You got to get at Central Park. I had no house to go to. No place. No home.
Cramped your style.
I got to tell you, I hit on one girl once from Brooklyn. Oh, my God. She was, I think, the craziest. Nutsy. And she turned out to be Moish's friend, Morris Levy, President
Morris Levy, the infamous Morris Levy.
Yeah,
Yes,
I said, you
with
Roulette Records.
could you believe this?
Tommy James.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was the president of Roulette.
Oh, yeah.
I got to
We
know
know
him later
about him.
on in life, but he was a pretty powerful guy. So where are you? The Beatles.
I just wanted to go back to the Beatles.
So the Beatles-
Murray the K MC'd, Jackie DeShannon and the Righteous
was it
Brothers.
Murray the K or was it the ABC Good Guys?
Was it Cousin Brucey?
No.
No, I think it was.
Well,
It might have been Murray the
I think it was
K.
Murray the K.
Murray the K was one of the good
Wait,
guys.
we did 2 shows with them, didn't we?
There was the one in '64 is the one I know about where they
One in
played the 30
'64.
minutes.
I thought we did 2 shows with them.
30-minute set. Were there 2?
Well, there were 2 shows.
One
I'm
with
pretty-
Jackie DeShannon and the Righteous Brothers opening.
That's right. We did 2. I'm pretty sure we did 2.
Okay. I know. I read somewhere that Benny Goodman was in the
Maybe.
audience, which is a pretty cool thing.
And you
I got very friendly with Benny Goodman. He was. I could be here all night.
Well, we'll get to some stuff.
I got to have my legs shaved. I got to get out of here.
Go ahead, Gil.
So the Beatles, what really started to break them up was as far as doing live concerts.
What happened was the screaming. They go, we can't hear ourselves. What are we doing here? Shea Stadium was a disaster. The sound was bad. It's a stadium. They didn't have sound and lights. You know what they used? They used the PA system.
Yeah,
like,
those days.
Number 16.
Right. Lingerie on 6.
Yeah, whatever. Number 5 at the bat. No, there was terrible sound, so they couldn't hear themselves at all on stage, let alone the fans lead. I went to the show. I couldn't hear a goddamn thing. And they were so big. That's the second time they came back. Well, the first time they came back, they played Carnegie Hall in 1963. And then they came back in 64, and I played them at the Forest Hills. But
You took a picture of Ringo? Is there a story?
I got a picture. I'm right on the stage with them.
Yeah.
I'm laying down right behind him. I had a girl with me laying down too on the floor. We're watching the show. We sneaked there, and I took Ringo on it, and it won honorable mention in the Daily News. So 20 years later, I'm playing Ringo at the radio station. Here we go. Sign this. He doesn't sign it 1964. He signs it 2008, which is okay. I sold it for $2,000 on eBay. No, I'm just kidding. I still have it.
Tell us about paying Jimi Hendrix.
Well, I tell you what I did with wait, the Beatles is not
Okay.
done yet.
Yeah,
I just
sure.
remember this now.
Okay.
I said, I'm going to buy everything out of the rooms they slept in at the International Hotel. And I called up the manager of the
Smart.
International Hotel. I think it was the Riviera Hotel. And I went into the rooms with an attorney. We looked at all the rooms. We took an inventory of everything. And we got a letter saying the attorney had attest to everything from these rooms came from the Beatles. John, George, Paul, and Ringo. And it came from the hotel. And I made copies of this thing. So I gave that and a 1-inch piece of a pillowcase or a sheet, whichever they wanted. I stapled it to this, and I took ads in paper, not newspapers, magazines for girls and guys. You know, like it would be People magazine today, or teen magazines all over the world. I got letters from Nigeria. I got letters from people send me money from India. I asked, you know what? Really, I got money, cash, and checks. And I go down to the post office, and I have bags of this stuff. And I have to put this stuff on the ground. I didn't cut my Don Friedman, the guy I was working with. This is my own private.
You took
bit.
stuff out of their rooms.
Everything. So then,
I love it.
put in my father's car. So anyway, everything.
Fantastic.
Wait a minute, I had plates,
You
cigarettes.
are an entrepreneur, Ron.
Cigarette butts, ashtrays, and so a lot of the plates weren't dirty. So my sister and I put oil and vinegar and oregano on the plates. made them look like they ate
The
something.
Beatles ate here.
Yeah, made them look like they ate something.
Did you ever tell Paul this? You
No,
know
I
it
never.
well.
I didn't. Well, I didn't tell him the story, but I told him. Well, I didn't tell him. I'll tell him no way.
Tell him. You know
So,
him.
because he's a friend. So here's what happens. I call Murray the case, and Murray, I want you to MC this thing. You be the auctioneer. I'm going to sell all this crap. And so I pull up. I rented the nightclub called the Cheater at the time. Went to the West Side at the time. Used to be something else. Probably that price fight years ago. And I went on the radio with Murray. He says, "Go forget the Beatles memorabilia. We're going to have it all. Everything they had when they blah, blah, blah." So I pull up in a limousine, and all the crap, the dishes and the salt and pepper shakers and the cigarette butts, anything we could find. Not the pieces, the 1-inch squares. I was sold that to people who I took it and the paper, they sent me the money. So at this, Murray goes up, and here's the thing, here's the dish that Ringo Starr actually ate on. Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
And here's a fork and knife, the whole set. And these kids, when I pulled up in a limo, they attacked the car. I had to get security to get them away from the car. I couldn't get the junk out of the car.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't get this garbage out of the car.
You
It's all garbage.
You got to tell Paul.
And you worked with and were friends with Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, I drove him around a couple of times to a couple of gigs. He was a client. We did shows with him at the Village East Theater, which is what became the Fillmore. So the Village East Theater on 2nd Avenue, right next door, right upstairs, was the Crystal Palace Ballroom. Billy Crystal's uncle owned it. And they'd have jitterbug dancing up there, big bands and swing dancing. So when I see Billy, that was his uncle, the Crystal Palace
That's cool.
Ballroom. And Lenny played there. We did twice. We played it there. He'd come to the office all the time, by the way, and he'd do a midnight show. And between shows, I had my mother's car, and he goes, "Hey kid, I gotta go someplace." I got my car. Lenny jumped in the car with somebody else. I took him a few blocks away on the Lower East Side, and they jumped out and they went to this townhouse, attached houses. He said, "I'll be right down. 2 floors, 3 floors up." And I'm going, "Don't forget, we got a show at midnight. You got to be back." I'm waiting down there. It's like 10 of midnight. Didn't come back. Comes back about midnight. And he was so glassy-eyed. You know he was doing heroin. He had to be. I mean, he was like a different person. Came back to the show, and everybody came to that show. You know, Willie Shoemaker, the jockey, was there. Everybody. He was so hip. He played Dead End of Dwayne before that show.
Oh, yeah,
years
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Mr. Kelly's in Chicago.
Kelly's.
And so he needed the money. The thing came about the words you can't say on television. You know, you say I can't say it on the radio, but there was 10 words or 7 words you can't say, and he said them at every show. And the cops now were going to be there. So I took him to Babylon. That's the only place they would take him because they know that the cops are going to show up and shut it down. But they took a shot with us. I forget what I got, $2,500 I think I got for him. And we walk in. He says, "Hi, boys. I see the boys are here tonight." And the cops were sitting in the back, standing. The place was so loud. And he started off, "I guess this is what you want to hear." And he gave him 10.
Yeah.
And right away he goes, "That's it." To me. What do you mean that's it? That's it. Right out, got him in a car, got the hell out of there.
Oh, shit.
That's how bad it became. And then it got worse and worse.
Well, I heard you say the censorship is really what killed him. What
He
led to his
He really
demise.
got into heavy, heavy drugs. So I used to type up his comments about, what do you call it when somebody, I was his guy. I don't know who his attorney was at the time, or who he was representing himself, I think. Yeah, he was. And I'd have a typewriter with the onion skin. I wish I had the onion skins. Maybe I do someplace hidden. And I type up, "What'd you say again?" I type up what he said. The first case, the first clause, bring that back, change this. I remember him telling me this stuff, and I said, doesn't he have an attorney? Who's defending this guy? He was so angry and so nervous about it and so hateful about this whole thing. They took all these. He was the guy that took the rap for everybody else to get famous and make a fortune.
Right.
That goes for Eddie Murphy.
Carlin.
That goes to everybody. Yeah. He went in and said those words, which are now nice. You can say them. Kevin Hart, all these guys. Everybody uses these words today.
Yeah. Trailblazer.
And then he was the guy who went to jail for them. He was the guy who killed himself because of that. He was the guy that overdosed. He was the one that they persecuted. You know, first of all, the best, Richard Pryor was a genius. He was another genius. And I went to see him during the later part of his life when he couldn't work anymore. He had MS, I think.
Yeah.
Talent agent calls me up from Los Angeles. Says, you got to come out at the Comedy Store. She just died, that woman who had the place.
Mitzi.
Yeah. So I went out there to see Richard Pryor, and he comes out. I think he was in a wheelchair, and he stood up, and he couldn't. He said, and he started talking about the disease, just like Lenny was. He was so hooked on, he couldn't do an act. He was so full of, I got to tell you this, and it kills you, and it grabs your heart, and you go, ah. He started doing stuff, and it wasn't funny, nothing funny, but we're looking at a guy destruct. And I'm going there to the agent, and I said, you flew me out here to make fun of this guy? This guy shouldn't be up there. You shouldn't be taking money from him. You shouldn't be asking people to book him. If he needs money, we'll do a benefit. We'll give him money. But to put him up there in front of people and make a joke of himself and put him down, what a genius this guy really is bad.
Good for you.
And I went home.
Good for you.
That was it.
Good for you.
I felt so bad for this guy. That was the last time I ever saw him.
Tell us about Hendrix, because I was reading an interview with you when you were talking about some of the guitar antics on stage, and you wound up paying him $100.
Well, this is Central Park at the Wilman Ice Skating Rink, and tickets were $1 back then. And I got $35,000 just to try to get acts, and I couldn't spend much more than $2,500 or $1,500. And when I spent all my money with Rheingold beer, I said I have to ask for more money. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I didn't. So I said to acts like Jimi Hendrix, manager, I got only $100. He says, well, take it. So I said, well, I just had a cancellation. Len Chandler, a folk singer, was opening for the Rascals. Rascals were hot then, at 5 or 6, Grooving on a Sunday afternoon, all those songs. So the kids are there with their mothers and fathers for the Rascals. Hey, grooving, hey, everybody. And he comes out, and he starts, with the guitar, now with the tongue licking the microphone, and he starts like gyrating with his groin on the guitar like he's having sex with the guitar, licking it and stuff. I'm going, holy shit, this guy's great. And then at the end, he lights the goddamn thing on fire and smashes it on a stick. I should have said, go out and get the goddamn guitar. It's going to be worth a lot of money one day.
Should have.
Fucking goddamn guitar. What are we doing here?
So always one thought on your...
Yeah, always we're going to make money. And I played him again. I did. I went, Philip on a call. They go, who? Jimi Hendrix? We can't play that here. I said, let me tell you something. We're going to call it an Eclectic Thanksgiving. It's going to be a concert.
Eclectic Thanksgiving.
It's going to be for people who love the opera, who like symphonies. What do you mean? I'm going to put on a New York brass quintet, and I want the best harpsichord player we have. Really? So they gave me some harpsichord player, French, like chamber music from the.
Wait a minute, you sold Avery Fisher Hall on this idea that Hendrix
Mrs. Her name was. It's going to be in my book. I forget, Mrs. So and So. Hello, oh, lovely.
You told her Jimi Hendrix was a classical act.
We had the harpsichord player, but the only thing she said, you have to have Mr. Hendrix or members of his band play when the harpsichord player comes out. No problem. Now, I had a problem. So I asked the guys in the band. There was, I know Mitch Mitchell was the drummer. Jimi Hendrix, the guitar player with the fuzzy hair. What was his name?
I
booked him later on in life. He was broke. He came to me. I put Noel Redding. Noel Redding.
Yep.
My mind works. Thank you, God. He had an afro.
Very good.
He had an afro. Noel Redding.
You stumped me, Ron.
Jesus Christ. So they go, what are you kidding me? Fuck you. I said, wait a minute. So I said, please, you got to do it for me. That's how I got the show here. So Mitch says, hey, it'll be a goof. I go out there. Who is it, a harpsichord guy? Yeah, I go out with the drums. So the harpsichord player goes out and the kids are laughing. Get off, bingly. I'm feeling so sorry for this harpsichord player with the tuxedo on. So Mitch Mitchell comes out, the drummer. Oh, yeah. And he starts playing along with him like he's making fun of him. And the kids are laughing and think it's the greatest thing that ever happened. So that's how I got away with it.
Wow. Same thing
and
with
Jimmy,
Bowie? Didn't you?
I'll tell you about Bowie. So Jimmy was a prince, though. He was the nicest guy. I had no idea he was doing that many drugs. I never asked for autographs. I never did the stuff that kids do today in my office and all over the place. I should have. So after that was the end of it. And later on, she died, and his girlfriend asked me to the house, and that was a whole other thing. She said, I spiked the punch. You're not going anywhere. I figured, holy Christ, I'm going to be on a trip. I just got married. I can't go home. I'll jump out a window. She never spiked it.
Jimi Hendrix's girlfriend spiked the punch.
Gorgeous. She was going up to Harlem, she said, to get some heroin. So I said, okay, don't leave. I left. Of course, I was scared out of my mind. I told my wife, I just been spiked. What do I do? What do I do? Where were you? I was at someplace. I got spiked.
What about Bowie at Carnegie
Bowie
Hall?
At Carnegie Hall. Well, they said, you got to be kidding. We don't take transvestites here. What do you mean transvestites? I swear to God, they were so transvestite. The guy's dressed up in makeup. He wears girls' clothes. No, you're not coming here. I said, please. I'm gonna call the New York Times. I'm gonna have you sued. But he played there, and the guy says to me, this is the house manager. He was okay, but the people above him didn't want to have him. But Stuart Walker was house manager. He's still alive. He said, you were right. This guy's a genius. And he was. He was beautiful. He was a great guy. What he did was transform himself into a character called Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, yeah.
Magical. And Mick Ronson, who died right after that, the guitar player, they had the interplay. It was so exciting. We don't see acts like that anymore. They come out in street clothes now, they sit up there and they just sing and they say dirty words. Then it was a show.
Can I throw a couple of names at you, Ron, before we...
Yeah, I got to go home and change my pants.
Tell us... If we just threw a name at you, if we said Bob Dylan, what comes to mind?
I just got 7 shows today. That was great for the Beacon Theater.
Good for you.
Thank God. I said, hey, Bob wants to work.
Good for you.
Well, God, he's amazing. I first met him at Forest Hills Tennis Stadium when, who was the keyboard player back then? Come on. Still around today. This is a tough one.
Yeah. Who else
did
did
he
play
with?
Blues
Project keyboard. Used to play the organ.
Our fans are yelling.
You'll know who he is. Anyway,
into
fans should call in. Well, anyway, and there's another guy, Newworth, who played with him. They were a fun band. They were having fun, and they were great at For Ourselves. He opened for Joan Baez, though. Before that, he opened for Joan Baez, solo acoustic.
He was electric at this point?
No. He was
acoustic.
Solo acoustic. Joni, he were, like friends. I think friends. And he opened for her. But the next year when we brought him back in 65, he went electric.
That's when he was electric, yeah.
And they were marching in front of the stage with mops, booing, where's Bob Dylan? After he did a few folk songs, he went into the electric, and they didn't go for it. But in the beginning, he started with a few folk songs, and the band was behind him. Then he started doing the Rolling Stone, which is a huge hit. Bring on Bob Dylan. Where's Bob Dylan? These are the purists. I can understand that.
Yeah.
They like Len Chandler, and they like Carolyn Hester, and the Fab Four, whatever they were. Not the Fab Four, those 4 freshmen, whatever, that kind of stuff.
Well, these were folkies
Folks,
you're talking
lots
about?
of folk singers.
Kingston Trio and those guys?
Oscar Brown Jr. and Peter Paul and all that stuff, real purists. And also, Leonard Cohen. I had Leonard Cohen in Central Park for $1. I had everybody in Central Park for $1.
You did. Led Zepp.
Everybody.
Incredible.
So, and you had Diana Ross.
We had a little riot there one night. People came down and I can't say this on the radio.
Oh, that was the night of the rainstorm.
Oh,
she
it was a
performed
rainstorm.
in the downpour.
Well, yeah, and so we had to cancel. Well, Barry Diller said that's it, and it was a storm coming right at us. You could see the clouds, and she's on the stage, and Barry Diller runs out and puts his coat over her, and the next day, the front page of the Daily News, stranger puts coat on Diana Ross. Barry Diller's a big guy, Paramount Pictures. Yeah. So we go into the trailer with 2 feet of water, a foot of water. It was one of those real big downpours that you get. And the water killed all the cables, and the sound went out, and the lights went out. So we're in the trailer, and we're all soaking wet, and we're sitting there. He says, well, we got to come back tomorrow night. I said, did you see that crowd out there? Are you kidding me? We're lucky. I said, you got 35 minutes of a great show. The storm was magnificent. Why don't you fill in with some filler about Diana's history or Ross? You got 30... And you need another 25 minutes for an hour show. We came here to give him 1 hour show, and we're going to do an hour show for television. So I said, I'm not coming back tomorrow night. I have a show in Forest Hills Tennis Stadium. I'm going to be there. Okay? I'm not coming back. I don't think you should do the show. P.S. They did the show, and we got a phone call backstage at Forest Hills. I was with Warner Leroy, who owned the Tavern on the Green. He came with me. I said, Warner, people just broke into... who running crazy through your restaurant.
That was an infamous
night. And they're taking their pocketbooks. What, are you crazy? So what happened? It was called wilding. Whatever happened, the old days, they used to run down Fifth Avenue and take Vicuna coats or something like that at the store windows. It was crazy. It was a one-off thing that never happened before. And it got out of hand because a handful of kids, that's all it was. That's all it took, a handful of kids. But the rest of the audience was great. They shouldn't have done the show because the ground was still wet. It was just a terrible condition. I had the same problem when I did Tijuana Brass there. It rained like crazy. I had to cancel the show. And the weekend they came back, the next weekend it rained again.
Did you move that show to
Damrosch
Park?
I moved to Damrosch Park, and he went crazy. I said, Herb, I'm sorry. We had no roof. I couldn't afford a roof. No roof over the stage. So the first day we stopped it. We stopped it at noon. The sun comes out at 3 p.m. Oh, my God. So the client says, it's okay. We don't want people to sit on the wet grass. I said, Herb, wet grass. Okay, we understand. So instead of having it the next night, we waited a whole week till the Saturday came again. And sure enough, it poured like a son of a bitch. So he was really angry because I didn't have a roof over the stage. Couldn't afford it. So I said, we got to move it to Damrosch Park, which, if you're in New York City, it's got a band shell.
Yeah.
Where the Goldman band plays. The Goldman family gave a lot of money so people could enjoy classy music, classical music. That was the thing. And I made him play there. We had to carry the piano over. It was an upright piano. We had to leave the other good piano, the Steinway, because it was going to get wet. We got an upright piano, not a real piano, like a bar piano. And he was so pissed at me. But it worked good. We didn't have 100,000 people like Barbra Streisand. We must have had 10,000 people. And it poured with umbrellas, but at least we did it. And I see him today. We're friends. He remembers it. I want to put him together, by the way, with the Tijuana Brass again. He wanted to do it, and I had Sergio Mendes of Brazil '66,
wow,
which was on his label. I said, listen, and we had it all done. I swear to God, we're going to do 219. I had it all set, and I got a call from the agent. He says, I can't tell you what happened, but it's off. So let me tell you something. Somebody wanted more money than somebody else. Something like that. So I don't know what happened. Probably Sergio wanted more money. Who knows what happened? Who opens, who closes? But that would have been marvelous. What?
No.
Yes, this
Next
gentleman
question.
right here.
Next question. The guy would got his hand on his membrane. Whoops. Get that man a raincoat. Throw that guy a towel.
What?
Get him out of here. Like Buck Henry used to go to the place over there, right there, to put his hand in it. He puts your hand in a hole. I said, Buck, what do? You put a quarter and you put your hand through a hole. What are you feeling? Anything that comes there.
We got to
This is Buck Henry.
ask Buck that next time. Good stuff.
You can feel something, whatever it is.
Wasn't there a whole scandal with Diana Ross that she was supposed to donate it to a park?
There you go. So we said, you got to give $250,000. And they're fighting about it. Barry Diller from Paramount and Diana Ross. I said, you guys better work it out because we promised the Parks Department that after we destroyed the place, forever, you're going to make a park or something. So I left that alone. I said, Barry, here's Diana. That's your friend. You work it out. I don't know whatever happened with that.
Tell us about the Springsteen. Tell us the Springsteen story too with Anne Murray, because that's a fun one.
He's good. Where'd you get this guy? Pain in the ass. He knows too much shit. Oh my God!
Trying to earn my $20 for helping you with the book.
I want all this stuff. I want you to.
I'll give it all to
I'm
you.
doing this for nothing.
Of
for
course.
Christ, the car's going to cost me $50 in the garage with people from Rikers Island park the car. Guy wouldn't let me park there. I gave the guy 20, then I gave him 10. Park the car. I found somebody who actually.
You don't have to tell to tell the Springsteen story.
Well, no. Here's what happened with Springsteen. If you want to know it, was Central Park again. It's $1 a ticket. And again, I had no money, and I get a call from John Landau, was his manager, and they said, we've got to play this guy. He's great. I never heard of him at the time. And I go, sure, okay, well, I'll try to help, but I have no money. I can give you $100 like I gave Jimi Hendrix. You gave him 100? Yeah, okay. So, and Bruce remembers better than me. I said, Bruce, you remember the time you opened for it? No, he said, I didn't open. I was second. I said, who opened? He said, well, you had Brewer and Shipley on the show. Brewer and Shipley.
One took over the line.
You got it.
Oh, jeez.
Brewer and Shipley. And then I came on, and I said, the place went bonkers, by the way, when he won. You can't follow Bruce Springsteen. And Anne Murray, the country singer that comes on, completely died. I mean, people went out. They went out after they saw him. They didn't want to see this girl. Forget about it. He knocked the socks off this audience. And she fired her manager, Shep Gordon.
Oh, wow.
Shep Gordon's a famous guy in America.
Sure.
He did a movie, Supermensch.
Mike Myers
Mike
made it,
Myers
yeah.
did this movie about
great.
Shep because they were best friends. Because when Mike Myers was getting a divorce, it's a little People magazine shit. Little trash for the Kardashian crowd. He says, Shep says, come to my house in Maui and I'll cook for you. And Mike went there. He was consoled by Shep, and Shep's a nice guy, funny guy, and they were best friends. So in return, 20 years later, Mike Myers does a little movie about how great Shep Gordon is. What a great guy.
It's a great movie.
It's a nice
we got to
thing.
get Shep
It was
on this
cute.
show.
He's funny.
Yeah, we'll get him.
He laughs like you. You two guys would laugh like crazy. By the way, he'll come with a nice chicken. He'll make a chicken dinner for you.
Did you want to ask the thing you wanted to ask about Mr. Murray?
Oh, yes. But first, before that, the most important thing we have to bring up again, Groucho definitely did have something going on with that.
Erin Fleming.
I would think that this beautiful lady, and he likes ladies,
Yeah.
I think she had to do something to make him happy. I don't know. I mean, they were good friends, but you got to read into it. I can't say, I didn't say anything, so I don't talk about that. I never saw anybody in bed with anybody. It's not my thing.
That's not what you said to me.
Well,
You were pretty graphic when we were at the Geraldo book party. You were pretty graphic
I
about
don't
what
know.
Groucho and Erin would do.
I would say, maybe they were intimate. She was intimate with the piano player, with
Hamlish.
Marvin Hamlish.
Marvin Hamlish. That makes sense. A younger gentleman.
Yeah.
But I would think a young lady like that was with an elderly guy. I mean, maybe he had something else. Maybe it was ice cubes. I don't know.
He was throwing ice cubes.
Oh, here's something we found that we gave you a lengthy intro, but I think this
Too lengthy.
Yeah. You've done a lot, Ron.
This to me seems like it wraps it up really briefly. Bill Murray said this about. I saw Delsener at the peak of his insanity, and he was fun to watch, Bill Murray said, adding, Ron Delsener is the craziest Jewish guy.
Italian Jew.
Yeah. Who is nutty as hell, says insane things that you think he would go to jail for, and he doesn't because he's so funny. He's just the craziest promoter and has seen more weird stuff than anybody.
That's great. Can I have that?
He based his
I
character
can sell it on
you.
eBay.
We got a pillowcase for you, too. He based his character in Rock the Casbah.
I said you
on
sucked. I said I saw it. You were terrible. Why don't you have me on the set? I would show you how to do it. You were too nice to people. You got to talk down to people. Do things that they want to hit you. I get hit. If you got hit, then you were good. If you don't get hit, then you stink. Somebody's got to level you and punch you out. You got to be threatened by the mob. You're too nice. Yeah. That's true. He's a great guy. He's all over the place. He pops up here and there. You see him at the Grammys or the Tonys or the Emmys. He comes to everything. He used to hang around us a lot. I made him come to the Van Morrison shows, Van Morrison, because Van insisted that he meet Bill Murray, and then Van would fall asleep or fall down and get drunk. And then Bill would get up, I'm leaving now. I said, come on back, Bill. I can't talk to him all night. Bill was great.
You want to say anything about your 80th birthday party a couple of years
I'm
ago?
not 80. For all the women out there who know me, my
Paul
friends,
Schaefer emceed it. McCartney showed up. Jimmy Buffett.
everybody.
Father Guido, your friend Roger Waters.
Everybody was there. All the hedge fund guys, Stevie Cohen, all the guys, Daddy Love, everybody was there.
Were you honored?
I had Jim Walsh came there, Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
Yeah. Irving Azoff, Corn Capshaw, the big manager, has Fish and all those big acts I played. And Dave Matthews Band. So what I did with Dave Matthews Band, they're playing Jones Beach, we're giving we raised some money because they honored me at Jones Beach in the park, and we gave some money, Dave Matthews and myself and his manager, to a friend of ours who was a great agent who died of a rare cancer at a young age. His name was Chip Hooper. And we've just had the Parks Department in Jones Beach, build in Jones Beach, a splash park for kids between the ages of 3 and 7. And it's all ready to go, and I'm going to go press the button 2 weeks from now, and we're going to dedicate that. And that's because of
That's great.
whatever this guy meant to us. But there's not too many people who too giving about doing things anymore.
Well, congratulations on all the goods, on all the,
Well, it's good things.
the
That's
money
why I
you've
don't-
raised for important causes.
Well, not only that, but I think the shows that I'm with Live Nation now, I don't have the control I had before, and I don't like it. So I see things at the theater that I really want to have. I want to have screens, LED screens. I can't have the screens they put there now. You can't see them in the daytime. It's terrible. And artists come in, and they come in with beautiful screens. You can see the show great because it's a big place. And the audience should have good visibility. You know, they're sitting up there. They're entitled to see the show good. So we should give them the big screen so they can see it, especially when you're playing 14,000 people outside. In arenas, too. Let the people see it properly. So there's little things I'm always on top of trying to make the place look better. Of course, if the fan doesn't have a good experience, I feel upset. Because I was a fan once, you know. I went to see Lenny Bruce when I was a kid. There was a snowstorm. He played at midnight at Carnegie Hall.
61.
And I couldn't get back to my mom's house in Queens. I forget how the hell I got back. I must have walked through the tunnel or something, or over the 59th Street Bridge. But that was some night.
I was born in that snowstorm.
You were
That was
there.
February 61.
Well, I had a shitty seat, and I
looked it
said to myself, I'm never going to have a bad seat like this again. I'm always going to be the better seat than this.
Good for you.
And I thought the fans should have the best seat they could have. And at least if they don't, let them at least see and hear the show.
Well,
That's
and you
it.
started the Jones Beach concerts for people that couldn't go on vacation, for people that couldn't afford to go
Central
to the
Park,
Hamptons.
Central Park.
And Central Park, too.
For the people, the minorities of this city who can't see live shows for free, the free shows and $1 a ticket. I figured I wanted to make it cheaper than the movies. It was cheaper than a movie ticket. Movie ticket might have been $2.
You know, it's amazing that you could see The Who and Led Zeppelin
Well,
for
I
a
was
buck.
the people's promoter, you know, they used to say, the people's promoter. I think Bill Graham gave me that name, people's promoter.
What else? You got anything for this man, Gilbert?
Oh.
Oh, one last one. Did ZZ Top travel with livestock?
Where'd you hear this?
I was looking up the insane contract writers. I saw it in an article about you that you had to provide feed for the livestock. Is that bullshit?
Yeah, sure, I know. What about
I like it. He was just like Frankie Pantangeli there.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Why not? Has Chaz Palminteri been on this show? Now I see he's got
Not
a
yet.
restaurant.
Not yet.
He's got a
Oh, here's something.
We'll ask him.
When you were
Don't show it to me now.
The man's double parked.
when you were
They stole my cars in Mexico already. They put on a freaking bus, a boat. I go back to these crooks. Rikers Island, they're all on a work release program.
Oh my God.
when you were a kid, back with your family, you had a victory garden.
Yeah,
I heard.
yeah.
Can you tell us what a victory garden was?
Where you plant the vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, carrots and radishes and stuff
And this
like
was during World War II.
This was, my father, we lived at 4556 193rd Street. And there were attached houses. And Lou Lair, Monkeys is the craziest people.
Monkeys is the craziest people. That's a
We
memory.
were renting, he owned this thing, and we rented it from him. Monkeys are the craziest
Yeah.
people. You'd
The
see him on...
the craziest
He'd
people.
be on the news when you see the two shows at the RKO Keys in Flushing and the guy, Bertie at the organ. They'd show a thing with them on Monkeys are the craziest people. You show Lou Lair. And you show Lowell Thomas. It says Lowell Thomas. And they show some African chicks with tits with bare breasts. Oh, my God. As kids, we never saw women with bare breasts. And they show it to you at the theater with your mom and dad. You know, they're all naked, bare-breasted chicks, and it was normal. That's what they walk around with. And we didn't know. You know, we thought that's the way everybody walks around. So when I got older, I went to there and I wanted to see it, and they said, no way. No, I'm kidding about that. So what were you saying? What was the question?
He answered it. He answered the victory card.
You gave a better
plant
answer
radish.
than the one.
I didn't tell you the one on my mother's birthday every year, on Mother's Day, my father would give her flowers. I'd sell them the next day to Vivian Barber Miller on the block. I sell the used flowers. I sold everything.
Ron, you're a genius.
Everything's so shit. All right, let me get out of here.
There's a man here, a
Okay.
special guest here, came to say hello to you. You recognize that man on the couch?
Oh, my God. Hey, dude. Oh, my God.
Bruce Valanche is here.
Oh, look at him. How many chins? More chins than a Chinese phone book.
And what anything you want to plug?
Yeah, the Dylan shows. You want to promote
I'm not ready
anything?
to sell those yet.
Okay.
I got to plug some crap we're dying with. I don't know. No, it's okay. No, we're okay.
Plug your future memoir.
No, well, Paul Simon, we love you. Probably doing Paul's final shows, which are great. He's retired. He's going to go to Maui, so he says. And I play people my age. You know, Eric Clapton, those guys, Roger, all the guys.
You did the Cream reunion. There's so much we could
some
talk
great
about. We didn't
stuff.
get to.
The greatest stuff in the world. These guys are so lovely to me, and you know what? They take care of me. Even if I was not my show and I had to go someplace else, like Billy Joel, 100 shows.
Yeah.
100 shows on July 18th. This guy takes care of me no matter what. I mean, even
great.
though we made the deal directly with the Garden, where do you find friends like this? It's pretty amazing. I'm glad to have these guys. You treat people nice. You be nice. You don't ask for anything. And lots of them are really nice. Some of them don't give a damn, but it's okay. I don't ask for anything. I'm okay.
It's been a great
Good health. That's the main thing.
Yeah. There's so much we didn't get to, Ron.
Okay.
Come back and play with
Thank
us
you.
again.
We'll have a moment of silence.
So this has been Gilbert Gottfried's amazing Colossal podcast, and we've been talking to the legendary
Nearly dead.
Ron Delsener.
Great Ron Delsener. Ron, thanks for the parking thing. Thanks
I
for the
want all of
schlep.
those notes.
And-
I'll give you the
and-
cards.
One, I got to be a pain in the ass, not that I wasn't before. If you could do an ID for
I'm
us.
going to
Sure
make you
I
do
will.
an old Alan Freed style
Oh, my God.
Cousin
You gotta-
Brucey's
I'm-
Foul Station ID.
Gotta-
I'm Ron Delsener.
We just lost Dan Ingram, by the way.
You're listening to Gilbert Gottfried's amazing Colossal podcast. You say that.
He's staring.
How can I remember all that shit? You got to write that.
I'll write it
I'm
down.
listening.
Yeah.
You're listening to Gilbert Gottfried's amazing podcast.
Colossal.
Colossal.
Amazing
Colossal.
Podcast.
Yes. ACP.
Give me a freaking teleprompter.
Hang on, I'll give
Yeah,
it to you.
yeah, he'll write it down for you. I
I
wouldn't
can't
be
find
able
my
to.
way home at night.
It's my show. I don't remember the title, and I don't remember my co-host's name half the time.
So
Took him
why,
about 30
why don't we do
episodes.
this like we did today? Do it at Town Hall. We'll do it someplace like Woody Allen used to do every night until he was fondling his daughter at a pub or something like that.
Michael's Pub.
What was that about?
Michael's Pub.
Yeah, what was that about? They fired him from the Carla
Wait a minute,
Hotel.
you want to do this live somewhere in front of an audience?
So that's just like this. What do you think David Steinberg does?
What?
He interviews friends and makes a fortune
yeah,
in
we'll
Canada.
do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yes. Okay.
Can you promote it?
Yeah, we will.
All right, you're on.
You know, we do it. I got the Catholic Church place downtown. You're going to love it. You walk in, there's a picture of Jesus there and everything.
Gilbert.
No,
Gilbert
it's
will burst
Bishop
into
Fulton
flames.
Sheen. It's the Bishop Fulton Sheen Day. 200 seats.
Bishop
Wait a
Sheen.
minute. Wait a minute. It's great. 200 seats. I had Jack. What's the guy? Jay, the card guy.
Ricky J.
Ricky Jay there.
Yes. Yes.
Nora Jones. Regina Spektor.
Wow.
It's fully. You can
wanna
tape.
see this
By the
show.
way, full television. You can tape everything there. They have bedrooms. You can stay there. It's built and Cardinal or what's his name at the O'Rourke or something. Who's the guy at
There you got me.
St. Patrick's Cathedral?
There you got me.
He's a great
I'm a
guy.
fallen
He knows
Christian.
about the place because I saw him at this Rayo's place. A benefit we give one night.
All right,
He
so
says,
we'll do a live one with some other people and
we
you'll
do
promote
it there and we'll pack the place. We'll charge $100 a ticket.
Okay.
We'll get Donald Fagen.
What do you say, Gil?
I'll do
Donald
it.
Fagen.
It's can't.
I'm in.
By the way, Tom Schiller's still around. You know Tom
I
Schiller?
know Tom very well.
Crazy motherfucker. He'd
Yeah.
be hysterical with
I
you.
love Tom.
So we have been talking to Ron Delsener, the legendary Ron Delsener.
Thank you, and I'm listening. If you're listening now, you're listening to the amazing Colossal podcast of Gilbert Gottfried.
And who are you?
You didn't identify yourself.
Oh, I'm Ron Delsener. I'm Goldie Hawn.
Now try it again.
Hey,
I'm
I'm Ron Delsener, and you're listening to the amazing Colossal podcast of Gilbert Gottfried. Ron Delsener signing off. Motherfucker.
Beautiful.
Great.